What's good people? I'm Adal Jamil, your friendly neighborhood beat making instructor at Point Blank Music School in LA. And in this video, we're going to create macros in Ableton to shape and color chords for some lo-fi hip hop. We'll be adding macros to a chord kit we created in another video. Go check it out to see how we made this kit. We'll be customizing these electric piano chord samples to add character and interest. After we set up these macros, we'll be able to generate new and unique variations at the click of a button. So let's do it. First, I'm going to show my macros in the view column. And we're going to add the maximum 16 macros for maximum control and maximum character. I'm going to make sure my filter is turned on and right click on the filter button so I can copy this value to all my siblings. So now all 16 filters have been turned on. I'm going to do the same thing to the LFO. Turn on the LFO and copy value to all siblings. Let me scroll over here so I can see some of my controls, and I'm going to map my volume control to macro 1 and scroll back. In fact, let me go ahead and just close out my chain list. I don't need to see that right now. And I'm going to map my transpose control to macro 2. One thing I forgot to do is I need a map to all siblings, so that way all 16 pads are mapped to the same macro. I'm going to map my fade in to macro 3. And then I'm going to map my LFO shape to macro 4. Let me go back just a second so I can map to all siblings, map to all siblings. And then I'm going to map my LFO speed to macro 5. I'm going to turn my sync on and then also map this to macro 5 so I can get both speeds if I want to switch between free or just the LFO rate to unsynced and synced. And again, map to all siblings. Let's go back to map to all siblings. I'm going to open my controls tab. And then we're going to map these settings here. First, I'm going to map my volume LFO amount to macro 6. Map to all siblings. My pitch to macro 7. Map to all siblings. I'm going to edit my map so that way my pitch macro is maxed out to about 5%, so that way my pitch doesn't go out of key. Next one, 5, 5, 5, 5, all the way down. Let's go ahead and close my macro edit. Let's go back into controls, and we're going to map pan to macro 8, copy to all siblings. And then I'm going to map my LFO filter to macro 16. Map it to all siblings. I'm going to then map our filter type to macro 9. Again, map to all siblings. Let's just assume that I have to map to all siblings. So I want to have control for all of my sampler instances that I have in my drum rack. That's why we're mapping to all siblings. I'm going to change the filter type to our morph filter so I can adjust that on macro 10. Let me bring this back to our regular filter. And then my cutoff frequency to macro 11. Resonance on 12. Then I'm going to go into my filter envelope, make sure that's turned on, map that, and copy it to all siblings. Then I'm going to map my filter envelope attack to macro 13 and decay on 14. We map to all siblings to both of those. And then my filter amount to macro 15, map to all siblings. And then I'm going to save this, which I already have it saved. Hit return. And I'm going to overwrite this. Boom. Next, I'm going to open up my variations. So now that I've set up my macros, I want to set a default for this setting. And everything looks good so far except for my LFO. I have it set to noise and random. I want that set to, there we go. And we'll set that all the way up to sine wave. Let me rename this macro. LFO speed. And feel free to rename any of your macros so that way it's easier for you to use and see and change things on the fly. And we're going to set everything to sync so that way we have some BPMs going, mapped to all, copy value to all siblings. So I'm going to set this as new, and we're going to say rename this as default. So whatever changes I make, I can just click this button. So if I make any changes here, when I click this play button, it'll return back to my default. Now these two controls, volume and transpose, I'm going to exclude from any variations and randomness, because now when I click random, I can have all sorts of variations for this one chord kit. But when I hit random, I don't want my volume to have peaks and dropouts, or I don't want my tune to get out of tune. So I want to make sure that these are excluded from random any of the variations. So what I need to do is let me go ahead and set this back to default. Exclude macro from randomization and exclude from variations. Do that to both of these. So now when I hit random, nothing happens to these two controls, and I can just get a whole bunch of weird stuff that comes out when I hit random button. So let's see what we got. So far I have my loop. All right, so let's play this loop and start adjusting some things. With my fading control, now I can change the attack of how these chords come in. Let me change this filter up a little bit to more filter. I like that. And I'm going to add some LFO to my filter. Let me change the speed up a little bit, just so we have it on quarter notes. There we go. Just turn this up a little bit. Or I can turn my volume up a little bit. Let's add some resonance to that filter. A little bit of pitch variation to simulate a warped vinyl record, you know. And let's add some panning so we get some back and forth, a little bit of movement. Make sure that's mapped to all siblings, and it is. All right, let's go ahead and save this as a variation. Let's go and play this drum loop. Turn my volume up a little bit on this loop. Awesome. Now I have my default and a new variation. If I don't like it, I can come back to my default. I can also now press this random button and see what random noise I can get, some random goodness. This is nice. Subtle. like that. Let's go ahead and add new variation. Let's keep that one. Let's go and randomize again. Ooh. Let's have some nice LFO texture on that. I like that one too. Let's do one more, just for good measure. Ooh, that's interesting. I like that one too, but I think we got one that's already similar to that. Ooh, yeah, this is the one. Let's go ahead and save this one. And just like that, I have 4 variations on this chord kit. And I can always come back to these variations because now once I have it saved, overwrite. And now I have my own custom made chord kit. And with that, we've added macros to this chord kit, giving us the power to shape, change, manipulate the sound in any way we see fit, with randomization giving us infinite possibilities of variations and infinite possibilities of inspiration. So I hope you enjoy watching this video, and I hope you enjoy using these techniques. And if you have a project that you're working on using these techniques, send us a link in the comments. Also let us know in the comments what topics you want us to cover in the future. We have more videos like this one waiting for you on our channel, so subscribe so you don't miss any of our helpful tips. And if you want to go deeper to learning all things music, check out our courses at pointblankmusicschool.com. I'm Adal Jamil, beat making instructor at Point Blank Music School in LA. You can find me on socials at ADL_JML. Be good and be creative. And I'll see you in the next video.